So, hello everyone. We'll be talking to you guys today about benefits. My name is Danny. My partners Victor, Kevin, Miguel, and Sean. So, what is health insurance? So, health insurance is a type of insurance that pays for all of your medical and surgical expenses. So, let's say you visit the doctor, you visit the ER, or you go to the hospital. Health insurance covers that, and it keeps your healthcare costs affordable and predictable. So after doing some research, I found that over 45 million people in the U.S. don't have health insurance. And if you don't have health insurance, it could lead up to these costs. So fixing a broken arm can cost up to $7,500. The average cost of a three-day hospital stay is around $30,000, and the average cost of being in the hospital is 23,000 plus. And there's usually two plans that people go under once they get health insurance. It's either the single plan or the family plan. And thing it's pretty straightforward. Single plan is just, if you're not married, don't have any children, choose a single plan. But the family plan is if you're married and you have children, then you choose a family plan. So public health insurance is a type of insurance that's paid for by the government. So there are two main types of public health insurance is Medicare and Medicaid. And Medicare is for people who are over 65 and have disabilities. And Medicare is for people who have a low income or have certain disabilities. So one of the type of health insurance plans is HMO, which is a health maintenance organization, and it offers a wide range of health care services through a network of providers who agree to supply you through a service of services. And you're required to choose a PCP, which stands for a primary care physician. So, oh, so the other plan is called the PPO, which is preferred provider organization, and this is definitely the most popular one out of the individual and family market, and it allows you to visit any healthcare provider you need. So, for example, let's say you're on vacation, you don't feel good, you can go to the local doctor right there. He'll treat you in no time. And here we have the EPO, and it stands for the Exclusive Provider Organization. And with this, it costs less, but you're only allowed to visit like doctors and hospitals within your network. So there's no out of network benefits, but it is cheaper than the HMO and PPO. And the last plan I'll be talking to you about is called the point of service. And it pays less to use this type of service, but you're not don't have as many options as the HMO or PPO plans. And you are required to get a referral to see a specialist from a PCP, the primary care physician. And also another big plan that many people use in New Jersey is called AmeriHealth New Jersey, and it's a provider of health insurance for all employees and individuals in New Jersey. And I know many Rowan students who graduate and go into the workforce create an AmeriHealth plan so they can serve all their health insurance needs. And it also manages member health benefits, and makes sure that all employee information is correct and adequate. So another plan is called Obamacare, and it's AKA the Affordable Care Act. It was created. So it was created back in 2010. Um, it did increase healthcare costs because a lot of companies, a lot of health insurance companies and healthcare providers had to pay additional taxes to help fund it. But in the long term, it did increase healthcare costs for the majority of the population. So I was talking about universal healthcare, and that's a healthcare service. It's free, and it provides financial risk protection and free healthcare. So uh, in the sorry, out of over 50 countries, U.S. is the only industrialized nation in the world that doesn't provide free healthcare, and I think that's pretty foolish. I would say because I think we're one of the most richest and powerful countries in the world, and the fact that we can't provide free healthcare is it's pretty stupid. But we have this is why we need U.S. universal health care in the U.S. So millions of people don't have adequate health care. So, so in overall, we need health care for everyone. The fact that shouldn't matter about wealth or income or anything that we need or any financial needs. Everyone deserves health care. So I know Bernie Sanders, probably all familiar with him. He preaches on how everyone must receive free healthcare because he says that it shouldn't be a privilege; it should be guaranteed. And I agree with this 100% because, like I said before, you shouldn't worry about your wealth or your income or anything. If you're low financially, you should be provided healthcare. So I have a personal experience. So back in high school, I was playing in a football game, and as I was running after the ball carrier, I got absolutely blindsided.
You changed a little.
Yeah, changed right. Helmet flew off and everything, and I ended up having a concussion, and I had to go to the hospital. So when I went to the hospital, like my head was throbbing. Like I woke up, I was like, "Where am I?" Like my head's all loose. So I asked the nurse. I was like, "Hey, like, do you have any Tylenol you can give me?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I have a pill right here." And she gave me it, and I thought that was that. I was like, "All right, then that's that." But then ended up, my parents ended up getting the hospital bill, and it ended up that one pill of Tylenol cost $80. And that's like ridiculous to me because I'm like, you can go to Walgreens, buy a little bottle of Tylenol for $10, and that one pill of Tylenol cost me $80. And I did hear from my parents the next day, but you live and you learn. So there's many challenges that we still have to face with health insurance, such as low level of consumer awareness, limited product development, limited knowledge, and pretty much in all, we must put our patients first. So it shouldn't matter at the end of the day. It shouldn't matter about income, your wealth, your social status. If you're hurt and you need medical attention, you should get. We must put our patients first, and everyone should be able to receive free health insurance and health care. So having said that, I will take it over. I'll pass it on over to Victor to continue the presentation.
All right, so Daniel goes over health insurance is that you can get from your job that you work at, or outside of. I'm going to be going over cost sharing, which is when you and your health insurance company get together and cover down on your healthcare expenses. Copays, co-insurance, and deductibles are all examples of cost sharing, along with out-of-pocket maximums, but we'll go over that later on after I explain the other three. So we'll start with deductibles. Deductibles, I'm sure you've all heard of, with your healthcare, with your health insurance or any other kind of insurance company, you know, you pay your deductible and then your company goes into co-insurance mode with you. So for example, your deductible might be $1,500. You'd have to pay that until you reach co-insurance line. But what's the difference between a deductible and a premium, and how do they go together? Well, obviously, the higher your deductible, the lower your premium, and vice versa. Maybe in your life you want a smaller premium, but if you end up in the hospital, you'll pay a larger deductible. To give you a little personal experience, although it isn't linked to health insurance, I recently got into a little fender bender. And I unfortunately took my car that was fully paid off of collision and all that other stuff. So I was just stuck with the liability. Brought my premiums down, but also didn't have to pay deductibles, but I have to pay for all the parts included out of pocket. And that versus $500, I'd rather pay the $500. But anyway, in case you wanted to know what his damage looked like. Although I'm sure he didn't care because his was like a 2017. I'm sure he had full coverage, the whole thing. But anyway, going into co-insurance, which is what you pay. Well, you still pay once you reach your deductibles. It's a lower amount, but your health insurance company, gets together with you. More typically on a percentage basis. How that works is, for example, you have a $1,500 deductible, you reach your $1,500, and then they go into co-insurance mode, and then they tell you, oh, look, we'll pay 70% or 60%, and you pay the rest, which is a lot better than paying the full tab of whatever your healthcare expense might be. So I went over premiums, I've gone over deductibles, gone over coinsurance, and now we go into copays. Copays, I'm sure most, if not all of everybody here has heard of or have paid a copay themselves. My end, if I go to the doctor, if I ever need to go to the doctor, I give them $20, they do what I need, and I leave. Of course, that differs depending on the service or the kind of doctor that you go to. Typically, unlike coinsurance, it's actually more of a flat rate than a percentage rate. It mainly just depends on your company that you go to, the kind of benefits you have under that company, the amount of people you have on your plan. That all goes together. So now we'll go into co-payments and co-insurance. What's the difference between both of them? Do they affect one another? Kind of, sort of. Typically, when you're going for a health insurance company, you want to look at both of them, but depending on your needs, depends on which one you want to look at the most. For example, on co-insurance, you're more looking towards what kind of benefits you can get out of it, whether it be like if you have a $400 premium, you might have a 30% co-insurance once you pay off your deductibles. Or you might have a plan that's $450 or $500 in your premium, but then the percentage you pay is 15 or 20%. Depending on your financial stability or your healthcare needs, you would want to weigh the options to try to cut down on money. For copay, on the other hand, you would want to look at that more if you have to, let's say you're like 60 years old, you have to go get more medication, you're taking more trips to the doctors, you're paying a lot more in copay. So you might want to find an insurer that either has a lower amount of copays or the price tag on their copays isn't as high as compared to other companies. Now to finish off, I'll talk about your out-of-pocket maximums. Your out-of-pocket maximum is the ceiling that most companies give you after you've paid your deductibles, after you've paid your coinsurance. And once you reach that, they'll cover 100% of all your healthcare needs, providing it's under your plan of your whatever benefits you're covered down for. And with that, I hand it off to Kevin with 401k.
So the aspect of benefits I'll be covering is 401ks. I'll be explaining what they are, the importance of taking advantage of them if your employer offers, and the difference between the two most common types of 401ks. So a 401k is a retirement savings plan sponsored by an employer. Money is taken out of your paycheck and then put into an investment portfolio. The administrator allows you to choose from several investment portfolios. Choosing which investment risk you would like to take depends on a number of factors. The amount of time until desired retirement age is the most important factor. When you have more than 20 years until your desired retirement age, you'll be more aggressive with your portfolio since you have more time to make that money back. But if you have less than 20, you would be more conservative with your portfolio. Sometimes employers will match employees' contributions to their 401ks, and if they do, you should take full advantage of this. How the match works is determined by the employer. They could decide to match a percentage of your income, or they can decide to match a certain dollar amount. So assume your employer offers a 100% match of all contributions each year to a maximum of 3% of your annual income. Suppose each year you earn $60,000. The maximum amount your employer contributes each year is $1,800. To maximize this benefit, you must also contribute $1,800 each year. If your employer matches a certain dollar amount, you must contribute that dollar amount also, regardless of what percentage of your annual income it may represent. Taking full advantage of your employer's contribution matching is giving you free money and can really add up in savings for your future. However, there are contribution limits for 401ks. For 2019, it is at 19,000, which is up 500 from the previous year. This limit is imposed by the IRS, which generally makes cost of living adjustments in the fall. Employer matches don't count towards this limit, however, and can be quite generous. The maximum that can be contributed into your 401k between you and your employer is 56,000. This means an employer can potentially put much more into your plan, but it's not very likely. One thing you must consider with employer matching is if there's vesting guidelines regarding what your employer has contributed into your 401k. While all the money you have personally contribute into your 401k is yours if you choose to leave the job, but the terms may differ when it comes to your employer's match. Let's say you have a plan that increases the amount you're vested in each year by 20%. You will be fully vested within 5 years. But if you leave your job after 3, you will only be 60% vested into this 401k plan. If your employer does not have a plan that increases your vested amount each year, but instead by the certain amount of the period that you've been employed there, you will lose all your money if you your 401k if you leave the job before that period is up. The two most common types of 401ks are traditional 401ks and Roth 401ks. They're the same in having the sense of company match, same contribution limit is the same, and the only difference is how the money you contribute is taxed. A Roth 401k is a post-tax retirement savings account. That means you're paying taxes now and take home a little bit less on your paycheck. On the other hand, a traditional 401k is a pre-tax savings account. That means that the tax is taken off your gross earnings before your paycheck is taxed. The biggest benefit of the Roth 401k is since you already pay taxes on your contributions, the withdrawals you make on retirement are tax-free. Any employer match in your Roth 401k will still be taxed in retirement, but the money you put in and its growth is all yours. This is not the same for traditional 401ks. You have to pay taxes on the amount you withdraw on your current tax rate at retirement. Suppose that you have $1 million in your traditional Roth 401k and you are in the 22% tax bracket. That would mean 220,000 of that million is going to taxes. Another slight difference between a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k is your access to the money. In a traditional 401k, you can start receiving distributions at 59 and a half. With a Roth 401k, you can still start withdrawing money without penalty at the same age, but you must be held the account for 5 years. I personally did not know much about 401ks until my dad told me he wanted to start one for his business. He first told me about the idea at the end of the summer when we were working together, and then he talked to his employees, and since most of them have not thought about retirement, they like the idea of it. Over the last couple of months, he has been working on setting up a plan for them. He hopes that by implementing a 401k plan, this will keep his employees happy and want them keep working for him as they will be more motivated to stay, and will also help in attracting new employees. Overall, 401ks are a great way to plan for your retirement. If the company you work for after graduating offers it, it's definitely something you should take advantage of, especially if they have employer matching, because you would be missing out on free money if you did not take advantage of this. Lastly, you might not be thinking about retirement now, but the earlier you start investing, the better it is, because it's harder to catch up than start investing small now. I'm going to pass it over to Victor to talk about perks and bonuses.
Hello everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about perks and bonuses. They're slightly different from what we discussed before, but they might be just as important. So I'm going to be talking about three main aspects of perks and bonuses, like what are perks and bonuses, why would a company want to implement perks and bonuses, and kind of what are just the overall benefits for its employees for perks and bonuses. So typically for perks and bonuses, they are usually stated in your your contract. It can be either a salary or an hourly rate, but they're usually based off of three topics: commission, performance based, or even holiday. Holiday usually isn't in the contract itself, but it's a thing a company tends to offer. So I'm going to talk about holiday pay first. Holiday pay is just something that happens during the holiday season. Some companies tend to do this after a certain amount of time. If they're having a good year, they might want to pay you a little bit extra during that time. And again, it's not stated in your contract. It's just a little bit bonus aside from your salary itself. Uh, the next two are basically commission based or performance based. They kind of work off a sales goal or the end of quarter type of goal. So if you basically hit those type of quarter goals, you can receive that extra bonus pay or commission. And again, that's on top of your base pay or your salary. And it's a great way for companies to use to kind of increase sales. Perks, on the other hand, are slightly different. There really aren't direct pays or performance based. It's just a perk to the job. You work here, so you can take advantage of this. Some companies do kind of reimburse you for travel, so that could be one way you're getting paid for a certain type of perk. But a lot of times, perks are something small, or they can have a big effect overall on the staff itself. So one common perk is just free lunch, free breakfast. A lot of companies are starting to, just plus coffee, or if you come into work, you can have catered lunch to you guys. It's a very common practice, and one big thing about that is just saves the time for the employees, even saves money, and can have again the main purpose of perks is just to kind of focus on like the emotions of the employee and kind of creating a better work atmosphere. Another perk that some employers might offer, for example, mom's a teacher and she was able to book a vacation through her job and save a fair amount of money. I think she was able to save 600, but again, it's not a direct type of thing that she had to work X amount of years to receive. This is just when she signed up, it was a discount she was able to receive. And kind of the idea behind perks and bonuses and kind of why companies would like to use different perks and bonuses is just to really kind of expand on the company wealth itself. Sometimes the pay isn't enough, and sometimes these little perks and bonuses can go a long way. So, beginning with productivity and bonuses, bonuses are a great way to kind of increase that sort of productivity and increase that sort of productivity and kind of reaching certain sales goals.
You are doing great, but this is greater. Come on.
All right. So perks are a great way to kind of establish kind of emotional kind of benefits to the company. Perks can kind of just motivate your employees to do something a little bit better. Google is a great example of this. Google really does treat its employees extremely well outside of their compensation. They really focus on these perks for them. They have a bunch of different ways to kind of implement this. So first, I'm going to begin talking about kind of tying back into the free food that I stated before. Google definitely has a wide variety of food, not just bagels and kind of coffee. They kind of go above and beyond. They hire chefs to kind of cater for their employees. One Googler stated that Google providing this type of meal for them allowed them to save time into work, save money at work, and kind of just overall help kind of the money in their pocket, and that kind of motivates them to kind of work hard every day. Another great perk Google has for their employees, it's just bringing your dog to work. Google can be a stressful thing to do. So if you ever need to decompress, you can take your dog on to work, walk, kind of mingle with other employees, and come back to your desk and be re-energized and kind of continue that idea of just kind of working hard and being relaxed. Because at the end of the day, the perks are here outside of the being paid. It's just to really make sure that the employees are happier. They're more engaged and they want to be more successful at work. So this is kind of the main focus of these perks. It's not really to go outside of paying the employees, but kind of creating a relaxed atmosphere and kind of letting the employees kind of decompress and kind of making sure they can get things done. So I'm all going to kind of tie this into my time here at Sunglass Hut. I was a sales manager at Sunglass Hut for about 2 years. My main goal was to make sure that everyone in the store made the sales goal and the store would make the sales goal. And we used commission and different perks to kind of make sure this was it for us. This is a picture of my staff right before I left. They got me a little cake, so it's kind of nice. Basically, the way Sunglass Hut was worked, you had an hourly rate on top of your commission. So every week, if you made commission, you would get an extra little pay. And if you would go, say, 10 to 20% over the store goal, you can get 2 to 2.5% of that commission. So this was a great motivation factor for the whole staff to make sure they reach their sales goals every week. Because not only on top of that base pay, you're getting paid $200 to $300 on top of what you're making. And that was a huge motivation factor for the whole staff. That was a common practice what we would do. Another way we would use commission was for during the slower seasons when sunglasses aren't really being sold, January, February being those type of months, the days are kind of shorter, wire glasses kind of around. They would increase commission all the way up to like 4 to 5%. So that commission that you can make during that time period was basically past your hourly rate. So a lot of us were more motivated, more energized to try to get these sales, and that obviously helped out Sunglass Hut in the long run. And another great thing that Sunglass Hut did, this is a kind of more in the perk aspect. If you worked there for about a year, you did get a free pair of sunglasses up to $500. And sunglasses can get pretty pricey, so that can pretty much knock down pretty much any pair you would like. I worked there for 2 years, and it kind of kept me a reason why I come to stay around. And I got 2 pairs of sunglasses. And kind of summarizing everything today, perks and bonuses are a great way to kind of motivate your employees, kind of going away from the pay and kind of just creating a better work atmosphere. And this is one of the key focuses for some companies, or especially if you're looking for a job out there. All the other healthcare and bonuses is something good to look at. I'll pass it over to Sean.
All right, well, I'm just going to go over paid vacation and paid time off for you. I'm going to go over the different types of them, how you accrue the time, and all the importance behind it. So what are paid vacations? Paid vacations are a benefit offered to employees from companies that are either voluntary or state mandated. You can either get all of this vacation time paid up front or given to you up front in employment, or you accrue it over time based on how many hours that you work. The importance of it is employees need a work-life balance, right? So paid vacation is an important balance to that because it gives time for these employees to have a social life and do the things that they need to be able to focus at work. So like I said, productivity it's very important to paid vacation because if you're working all the time, employees are going to need time to decompress, right? And if they work too much, even the most positive workers can burn out, which you just need time to relax. So I work at Coco Fit Club. It's in Cherry Hill. I work as a marketer. I do day-to-day management there. I work on campaigns, marketing campaigns, and I also work as a trainer there. It's owned by an entrepreneurial couple, and we utilize treadmills, ellipticals, and machines called smart trainers. So after working there over a couple of years, I've accumulated some vacation days. Last August, I decided I needed a bit of a break from the routine, and I took my girlfriend to Hawaii, and we went there for about a week. So being able to relax there with her was great, and spend some time with her on the beach or climbing mountains or whatever it may be. After a week, I was ready to get back to work. I felt that I was re-energized and my productivity was insurmountable at that point. It was just great, and that was great for the company and also myself, just being able to refresh myself and think about different things that were going on at work in a new environment. So distractions happen to anyone. No one is immune to them, right? So the biggest thing is that employees may have an issue at home that they need to take care of, which may cause distractions while at work. So to give them time, you need a bit of a vacation to take care of those things so you're not distracted at work. So how long are these paid vacations? Well, they can range, especially based on countries and companies. Countries specifically, for instance, the US gets about 9 days a year for 1 year of service to the company, about 14 for 5 years, and 17 for 10 years. So how is this obtained? Well, you can obtain it weekly. By working hourly, it adds to a certain amount of time during that week. You can also, some companies allow it to your whole year's vacation time go into the next year. However, some companies also cut you off at the end of the year, and you may lose it if you don't use those vacation times. So part-time off for countries especially vary greatly. So French companies, for instance, they require state mandated or country mandated that each employee is going to be given 5 weeks off of paid time off. So these different types, like I said, we had paid vacation. We also have paid holiday. So you get holidays off like Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, Easter, all that kind of stuff. You also have sabbaticals and paid sick leave. So like I said, paid holidays, it's a normal type of offering in a benefit package. It's often in the employment offer letter and also in the employee handbook. Before, like I said, paid holidays are mostly Easter, Christmas, and New Year's and stuff like that. And we go into sabbaticals. For longevity, companies usually or sometimes give employees that have worked there for at least 5 years about a month sabbatical, made a month paid sabbatical. So to keep your mind sharp during all of that, because it's a very long thing, you can try and learn a new language or, get yourself ready for an upcoming event. So sick leave, everyone is entitled to a certain amount of sick days. That can range from needing it for your personal use, or family use, and or adoption, which I thought was very interesting. Um, like I said, it depends. However, for the US, the average is about 8.4 days of sick leave. And that is our total presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Do the video, I'm not ready to hand those out yet because I didn't finish the last one. Excellent.